On July 13th, China's State Council formally approved a consumption boosting plan under the 15th five-year plan. This is China's first national-level special plan devoted entirely to consumption. For the first time, consumption stands alone as a five-year target, issued as a formal state directive. Amid rising external uncertainty, the signal this plan sends is unmistakable. Domestic demand is the surest strategic bet for the next 5 years. The plan's core goal is clear. By 2030, retail sales should reach around 60 trillion yuan. In 2025, China's retail sales hit 50.1 trillion yuan, just breaking past the 50 trillion mark. Going from 50 to 60 trillion means a net gain of about 10 trillion over 5 years. Analysts estimate that implies annual growth of roughly 3.7% from 2026 to 2030. What does 3.7% actually mean? In 2024 and 2025, retail growth ran at 3.5% and 3.7%. So this isn't an aggressive leap, it just means holding the current pace steady. But with a complicated external backdrop and growth of only 1% from January to May 2026, holding 3.7% won't de-ease it.
Every sign points the same way. The stimulate consumption card will keep getting played to prop up growth. This debate over stimulating consumption has actually raged for years. One argument stands out: with no money in your pocket, what exactly are you supposed to spend? It's about as basic a truth as they come: no money, no spending. And yet that basic fact keeps getting brushed aside. The call to boost spending gets raised again, regardless, which really does leave people scratching their heads. This time, though, the confusion goes beyond just who has money. It raises a deeper question, too. With such urgent stimulus, what exactly are we meant to spend it on? Fair question. The world is full of goods, so what should we actually be buying? There should be some direction. Answering that properly requires one precondition: how much money is actually left in our pockets right now? Let's look at some recent figures. By the end of 2025, household deposits in China reached 135.5 trillion yuan. With a population of 1.412 billion, that's about 95,900 yuan per person. But that's just an average. Averages don't reflect what any individual actually has saved. They're only a rough reference. Moving on, per capita savings are 95,900 yuan. For a family of 3, that's about 287,700 yuan, under 300,000. That's the statistic. In reality, many people fall short of even that. Then household savings overall are far more complicated. The central bank once revealed that depositors with over 500,000 yuan make up just 1% of all savers. From that, we can infer even the 300,000 yuan figure can't be much higher than the 500,000 mark. Which brings us to a rather stark fact. For an economy already ranked second largest by GDP, doesn't this level of household wealth deserve some soul-searching? Clearly, these numbers are more than a little embarrassing. But hold on, it gets heavier. Real estate, booming for over 2 decades, has genuinely lifted household wealth and growth. But it's also left households more indebted, with more young people carrying mortgages. Mortgages now make up over 70% of household debt, a strikingly narrow mix. It's a harsh reality. Only 1% of households hold savings above 500,000. Even if the 300,000 group is somewhat larger, how much bigger could it really be? You can guess. On the other hand, the number of mortgage-burdened households is staggering. So against this backdrop, what's actually left to spend on? Can we predict it now? First, a household carrying a mortgage is unlikely to also have 300,000 in savings. Given today's rates, the smarter move is to put that $300,000 toward the mortgage instead, which means savings would inevitably shrink. So here's another conclusion. Households with $300,000 in savings are largely the ones without a mortgage. And conversely, that proves something too. Most households without $300,000 in savings fall into one of two camps. Either they carry a mortgage or they don't, but have little saved either way. If both hold true, we can already sketch what this stimulus is really targeting. Broadly, it comes down to two scenarios. First, people with over $300,000 saved do have spending power, but too few of them exist. And most already own a home, so they're unlikely to buy another. Unless they believe property still has real room to rise. So if this group isn't buying real estate, any other spending is a drop in the bucket. Conclusion: this group barely moves the economy at all. Second, since only 1% reach $500,000 in savings, a good share of the rest have little saved while carrying huge mortgage debt. And the homes they're paying off now face possible declines in value ahead. So will they still spend? Wrong. It's not just that they lack money, even with a sudden windfall. The first thing they do is pay the mortgage down early, not spend it on anything else. That leaves one last group, no mortgage, but not much savings either. In theory, they do have real demand for buying a home, but their pockets are empty. And with no home to their name, they're even less likely to spend on anything else. So following this logic, can we draw a conclusion? Future stimulus really still targets housing, using home purchases to drive growth. But what results that kind of stimulus produces is genuinely hard to predict. In a word, nobody's confident about this. So only the facts could prove what's really going on.
China's M2 money supply has now surged to 353 trillion yuan, the world's largest, nearly double the US figure. What does that mean? Split across 1.4 billion people, that's over 200,000. A family of three, 600 to 700,000 euro. But who actually has that much? The policy slogans are loud these days, all about boosting spending and demand. But how does it feel? Money's harder to earn, and people spend more. So where's the problem? That less money. What's it to us? That 353 trillion wasn't printed and handed straight. It was built layer by layer through bank loans, corporate bonds, and the financial system. The moment it's created, it flows to big firms and wealthy people with assets to pledge and bank access. Our wages are just the tiny outlet at the end of that chain. However thick the pipe, only a drop reaches you. What's really frustrating here? It's not that none of it reaches you. It's that money meant for ordinary people gets intercepted along the way. Let me show you two real stories. A government unit in Chongqing spent 750,000 yuan on a router, enough to buy a home in a smaller city. Someone looked it up online. Retail price of that router? 279 yuan. 750,000 versus 279, a markup of nearly 201, even wild. A unit in Fuzhou paid 780,000 yuan for a single black pine. The supplier's actual cost? 30. So where did the other 700,000 plus go? You can guess. For that router and that tree, the workers who made them earned maybe a few dozen yuan. The drivers who hauled them made maybe a few hundred in shipping fees. After layers of middle, someone walked off with most of the profit from a 750,000 yuan deal. That money never became wages, never became shipping fees, it never reached an ordinary pocket at all. It just became a markup, flowing to whoever landed the contract. That's one hidden channel for wealth to concentrate. And it's not just the financial system funneling money to the few, Even public funds meant to benefit everyone get skimmed off the same way, locked into the accounts of a select few. It never enters the spending cycle, never becomes our wages. It just shuffles back and forth among a narrow group's accounts. Crucially, these people won't spend it. For those already sitting on vast wealth, material needs were met long ago. Sure, they could buy another house, another car, but they won't. Where does it go? It just keeps circulating in the financial system or flows overseas. And those whose income can't bear scrutiny dare spend even less. Their money just sits, gathering dust. So the money sits with the few, who neither need nor dare spend it. Which creates a rather awkward situation. A towering 353 trillion yuan sits in the banks, but it's just spinning idle within the system. Our wallets are a desert. If money only circulates among the few and big corporations, what does it create? Asset bubbles. What it can't create is spending power in your hands. So looking back, weak consumption doesn't mean there's no money out there. There's plenty right there in that 353 trillion. It's just that it's not in your pocket, and it can't flow into it either. This isn't a monetary problem, it's a structural one.